Hi everyone, Mr. Coder back again with another live dev interview. This is the second part of my interview with Bankroll Studios, creators of Mad Maps. In this video, we're playing about with the powerful road tool that you get as part of Mad Maps. So if you wanted to make funky roads and alter your terrain, that's right, carve pieces out of your terrain. Well, you don't need anything more than Mad Maps. So sit back, enjoy, and I'll see you all in a second.
Yeah, we can have a bit of a play with the road tool if you'd like. Paint some roads along this lovely looking forest we've got here.
Yeah, I was just about to just carve in a road myself, but yeah, let's use the proper tool.
Righto. So to do that, if we just want to right click in the hierarchy, and like we did with making the map magic object, we'll just go to 3D objects, and then create a new road network.
Cool. It's gone miles away down there.
Yeah, it's just an empty object right now. But if we look in the inspector, we can see we get a little button just to open the editor window. Let's just open that, and this little window is what we're going to use to edit everything. So for the road tool, the first thing we need to do is define a road or like a what's called a connection configuration, and that just tells the road tool like what it's going to do, like what this road is basically. So to do that, we're just going to make a new scriptable object in the project.
Lovely.
So if you just right click wherever you want to make one and just go create Mad Maps road connection configuration, and we can just call it whatever we want, messy road, whatever. All right, so we can see in the inspector what this looks like. It's got a preview color, which is just like what it's going to look like in the scene before you change it. So you can just make different types of roads stand out in the scene. We've got a curviness, which kind of is equivalent to like if you've dealt with splines before and like spline handles, it's that same kind of thing, like how circular or angular the interpolation between the nodes is. And then we've got components, and these components is where we're actually going to like do the work along the spline. So if we want to add a new component to this messy road, for instance, we can do like under the terrain thing, probably the most common thing you want to do with a road is set the height. So if we go set height, we get a little new component there. And so what this component will do is just set the height to be under the spline. So if it'll make like a flat road basically. So we can add some more components. For instance, if we want to like get rid of trees, we can go remove trees. If we want to say set the splat map to a certain roady kind of splat, we can go set splats. So under the splat configurations list, we want to add a new splat config, and there we'll specify what kind of splat we want to write. We can just pick any of those. And the splat strength is good for 1. So now what this road will do when we paint it, it'll set the height, it'll remove the trees around it, and it'll set the splats. So we're ready to start painting our messy road. So first thing we want to do is drag that scriptable object we just created into the configuration field of the road network. Awesome. And so yeah, we can see there's like a bar up the top, and that's where like when you add roads, you get like a recently used list, so you can easily kind of switch between them. So now we can see a little hint up the top, which pretty much tells you what to do. But with your mouse over the scene view, if you just hold Control and then press down, you'll see like a little node preview. Yeah, so you just place down a node.
Oh, Lily!
Yeah, there you go. And you're painting this messy road now through your terrain.
Groovy.
So this hasn't actually done anything to the terrain yet. We're just defining like where the nodes are, and what the road is going to look like. So when we actually want to apply this road to the terrain, we can just hit this rebake button down the bottom of the road network window. And so what this is going to do is going to make a new layer on your terrain layer, on your terrain wrapper, that has all this road information in it. And yeah, we've got a nice little messy road here.
So, 2 questions off the bat. Sengoku's beating me to what about crossroads? We've got intersections here, which I'm assuming we'll be able to play with our crossroads there.
Yep. We'll be able to set up a little intersection for sure.
How do we go about setting all the different, like if we want to have, different textures and stones, and if we want to add like little prefabs of rocks and stuff.
Yeah. So we do all that the same way we do. We add components and we change the properties of those components. Yeah, we go back to that messy road object. We can fiddle around
on our road.
Yeah, so we should change the tree remove distance. Currently, it's only removing trees that are 1 meter away from the spline, but we're setting the height 10 meters away. So we just got to increase that radius, and then we'll remove those trees.
I'm trying to the road's a little bit offset from that. We got an offset that we've told it to be.
Yeah, so the display is straight, but if you select that node, you'll be able to see the curviness. So if you select this node, if you middle mouse click over that node on the screen, you can see that it's just for performance reasons. It'll draw a straight line between nodes when they're not selected, and it'll show the full curviness of the line when they are selected. So these objects, these nodes, they're pretty like managed by Mad Maps. You don't really need to mess with them yourself too much. They're more just like containers for data.
So we wouldn't muck about with any of this stuff.
No, most of this, like you can if you really want to, but you don't really need to. All of it will be sort of generated from this configuration that we make, this messy road object. So yeah, if we increase that to 10, for instance, then we'll see those roads disappear. Want to do more fancy stuff like removing the objects, that will get rid of those rocks.
Can we remove grass?
Yep. That'll be another component called remove details. So we can like specify exactly what objects we want to remove here. We can select by layer. We can do like a regex pattern for detecting like what kind of name we want to remove. Yeah, and then we can go remove details. And that radius looks good.
If I want to add place objects.
Yep.
And I've got a list of
So you can define a list here, and it'll just select randomly from any of those that you define. It's a lot of Rock 01 prefabs for sure. Probably going to be the same thing. Yeah, so we can specify like a min and max kind of distance away from the spline. We can specify like max instances, all this kind of fancy stuff. For instance, like one use case is like putting lampposts along your road, or
wonderful.
like things like that you can do
with
this,
like picket fences and stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Oh man.
And it would just place those prefabs kind of along the connection.
Awesome.
So we can give that a go if we want. We can hit the rebake button and see what that looks like.
Ooh.
So we can see we lost all those trees like we'd expect. We lost all that grass like we'd expect. I think the placing terrain object component needs a little bit more filling before it.
There's one rock. There's another one over there. Yeah, you get a spline tool as a bonus. I know, it's nuts. So how do we change the textures of our road? That's in that thing I clicked before, wasn't it?
Yeah, so there's a component on the messy road that sets the splat.
There was this
so
one,
we can
the old wrapper.
Yeah. So we can just change any property of this, like you would with any kind of regular splat prototype. It's exactly the same.
So does this work with like CTS or microsplat?
Yeah, absolutely, because it's not dealing with the splat rendering. It's only dealing with the splat data. That's all we're managing here. This like Mad Maps doesn't have really any rendering part of it. None of it's front end. It's all about managing the data underneath your terrain.
So how do I add more textures to this to be more than just the one?
Yeah, so for instance, if we wanted to blend two splats together with a road, we'd go back to that messy road configuration. Yeah, we can just select by clicking it there.
Cool.
And we'd add a new splat config in that list.
That one, and let's do 3 of them. I was thinking about having like banks along the side of the road. Son, you're saying add prefabs like asphalt along the spline.
Yeah, so we can set up generating a road mesh for sure. That can work a lot nicer for a lot of roads than just setting the splat.
So here I can change I just changed the strength to be.
Yeah. So it's gonna just determine like how much those splats are gonna influence the underlying splats.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think one of the big ones there we set was just like the already existing grass splat.
What about roads like in Kingdom? I don't remember the roads in Kingdom Come. What were they like? I remember they had horse poo in them. We could place horse poo down as an object.
You could definitely place some horse poo down if you really wanted to, I guess.
So how do we put down a crossroads with this awesome intersection tab that I'm dying to click on?
Righto. So intersections in Mad Maps are basically just prefabs that we set up. So we can like make a new intersection if we want, or we can. I think currently you've got a little bit of a broken prefab for an intersection. We can just go through and fix. You just go to say demo asphalt, that folder. Yeah. So this is like a demo road, and we can go through and kind of fix up some of these references that were a bit broken before. So if we look at this demo asphalt road T intersection, what that is, it's a T intersection for this road. If we drag it out onto the scene, again,
Shall I just drag it onto this node or just randomly?
Just anywhere. We're just gonna take a look at it and fix it up. So we can see on this thing it is missing a mesh. So if we just want to like fix this mesh collider missing, it's just that mesh directly at the top in the same folder. Like if you look at the
this one here,
demo asphalt road mesh, if you expand that, there'll be like a little.
Where is it? T, simple T.
Asphalt, yeah, that's the one.
Where is it? Simple T.
If we do that as well for the renderer.
Where is it? Up here. Node simple T.
And then for the materials, this is what like a intersection in Mad Maps. So
I'm losing you.
We've got this.
Oh, hang on, I'm baking. That's why. Stop baking. Stop
Print
baking.
node components.
Sorry. Unity was baking, was eating up all of my processing, so I couldn't actually hear a single word you were saying.
Like the light map baking. Yeah. It's the most frustrating like default parameter ever.
Yeah, having it set to gamma and having to all of the other settings wrong. So it's Unity 2018.2.18. I know it's not the latest one, but why am I still set to gamma by default?
Who knows? Who knows? So we can just like apply those changes to that prefab now if we want.
Where was my prefab? Yep.
Awesome. So this is pretty much all an intersection is in Mad Maps. We've got this object, and we also have these node components on that object, and those node components just tell you where you can connect to the intersection. So we can throw with these three cubes, we're saying we've got these three connection points to the intersection.
So you've got ones where you could do like a proper like crossroads where it's four.
You can do any mesh that you can define. You can put nodes wherever you want. You can put connection points wherever you want, and it'll just connect. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Do you know what a roundabout is?
I do know what a roundabout is. We have those in Australia.
Because I found out that a lot of people don't actually know what they are.
Interesting.
They don't have them in America. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think they're getting more popular just because everyone realizes that intersections are pretty terrible. Yes. So, if we want, we can.
So I drag that in there.
Yeah. Now we can delete this prefab we put into the scene. We were just doing that just to fix that prefab up.
Oh, cool. Tim says that they've learnt finally, and they've started putting roundabouts in. We have a lot in the US. Wow! Congratulations!
Yeah, I think they're discovering the magic.
Tim, any news on when you're going to stop using inches and feet? Let us know, please, buddy.
If it hasn't happened yet, it's probably never gonna.
Roundabout is a strange word, I must say. Hugo Schmidt, welcome back, buddy. Ain't seen you in a while, pal. Roundabout is a lovely word. Especially if you want
in
to
a
go
roundabout way.
in a roundabout way. If you want to come to the UK, visit a place called Birmingham. You'll never be able to
Birmingham's
leave.
nice.
You hit the roundabouts,
Lots
you'll
of
never
roundabouts.
leave. Yeah, exactly. Lots and lots of roundabouts. It's one massive collection of roundabouts. All right, so we've got our intersection prefab shoved in.
Yeah, so we can select any of these nodes, and we'll see like a preview of. So we like inject the intersection into the node, and it will replace that node. So we can select one.
Can I rotate it?
Yeah, so you can.
Ooh.
You can rotate the node like that for sure. Or if you just want to rotate the way that the intersection will be inserted,
Yeah.
it also has like an initial rotation in that tab that you can mess with.
Ah, yeah. Cool. Ooh.
Probably don't want to rotate it that way, I guess. Mostly on the y-axis.
I want to.
Because you're just like rotating it around.
If I change the height, is it going to affect the terrain as well? So like,
Yeah.
Could it like become curve upwards and then down?
Yeah. So if you wanted to do that, if you look in the inspector for you've got the node selected right now.
Yeah.
You can see you've got this little, this top component, the node component.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that you can set the snapping mode. So currently it's set to wrapper, so it's going to snap just directly to the height that it gets from the layers below. And you can set a Y offset. So if you want it to be like 30 meters above wherever the terrain was before the road happened, you can, exactly like that.
Oh, shall I click rebase?
And it will just, So we haven't actually inserted the intersection yet. Kind of got halfway through that.
Yeah. And I can increase the height map to make it a little bit more smooth and.
Yeah, that's kind of just what you're going to get with like a 513 height map.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's just a little bit of aliasing.
Right, cool. So now I click this insert intersection into node, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So
it doesn't like the fact that I did the curviness.
Yeah, you spun it around a bit. What it tries to do is just connect up the closest nodes with the ones you kind of inject into. So you've got this kind of third bit. The one on the node on the far left is connecting to that node, and then that node on the far right is connecting to the next node, and you've got this free node there. But yeah, so now if we rebake, it'll be integrated kind of a bit more into this intersection. Although, because something to keep in mind is because we made this messy road custom, it doesn't match the asphalt road. We can go through and paint some of this demo asphalt connection component that you can see in the project view right now, and that will connect up perfectly with the intersections and look completely seamless.
How do I undo what I've done? Is it like a undo button that I can go back and...
Undo functionality is in the works. Currently not with intersection injection, no. But if you just like delete the node and repaint that, you can do that fairly quickly.
So I do just delete this?
Yeah, if you just delete it, and then if you just middle click that node, and then you can select the connections tab in the road network window. There
you go. And if I... Oh, hang on. If I want to bring you down, I've got to do minus now?
Yep.
And
possible. I don't know how high we are right now in the terrain. You might bottom out on the height map. We'll see.
So if I can go up just a little bit. Oh, just a little bit as he goes.
Yeah, I think we're already kind of at the bottom of the height map, so you can't go a lot down right now with this node.
There we go. And then insert him back in. Oh, I can't just rotate him again and...
Yeah, this would if you're trying to set up like a four-way intersection right now, you would want to like make a four-way mesh and insert that. Like right now, this is a four-way intersection. If you're not using meshes, you don't necessarily need to like insert these intersection prefabs. The only reason you insert these intersection prefabs is really to connect meshes together. Right now we can see like what you had before with that intersection was working not too bad.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we have one more field to update on that intersection that I forgot about, which is the fall off. You can tell that the fall off is not there yet. So if we want to select that demo asphalt road T intersection prefab, we can just fix that up real quick. And then we can paint some asphalt road and make some cool looking mesh roads as well.
Oh, hang on. So, alright. What should I do with him?
So just select the demo asphalt road T intersection prefab.
Yep.
Just go down in your components to the bottom. And so we're just missing a reference to that, to a texture there. If you go up to the
here we go.
The rain plane script, we're missing that fall off texture, and it's just that intersection mask texture that's just below where the prefab is. And that just specifies like what the height map should fall like. No, that's the intersection icon. You want the intersection mask. Yeah. The one just to the right of it.
Get in your hole. Where did he go? Go back down again. There we go. So now I rebake.
Yep. Yeah, now we get like a much nicer fall off on that intersection. So let's do things a little nicer with a new kind of road. So if we select the demo asphalt, I can talk to you a bit about making a mesh along the road. We do have to fix up one or two references on this object. So we can see we've got like a bunch of different things. We set the splats, we set the height, we remove terrain objects. If we scroll up, we can see that the first component is this create render mesh. So you can actually specify different LOD levels. So just in that top LOD level, let's drag in that asphalt road node beveled, not the LOD version, just the regular one. Awesome. And just under the materials, let's just drag that demo asphalt road material. So that sets up your highest LOD, or like your currently we're specifying like the highest poly level of detail for the road right now, and it's going to set up all those level of detail groups. So when you like zoom out from the road and zoom in, you'll be popping in lower and higher versions of this mesh. And if we just want to do that, pretty much the same thing for the second, but we're going to drag in the LOD version and then drag in the material. So just like what these meshes look like. Like if you want to drag, say, the asphalt road node beveled mesh just out, just that mesh that we just assigned to the demo asphalt. So if you've got it open in the project view right now, it's just called asphalt road node beveled. That, that mesh.
This one?
The one just a little bit more up. Yeah, if you just drag that into the scene, we can kind of see what we're giving to the node component. So if we expand out that thing, we can see. Yeah, so that's the LOD version that we had before, and then that's the this mesh is what we're going to be giving to the the one you've got selected right now. That's going to be a high level LOD we're going to make the mesh out of, and then the one below is going to be the low level LOD. So it's a bit fewer polys. And so what we're basically doing is we've painted these splines, and now we're going to like tile and stretch and distort this mesh along the spline, and that's going to make a road surface for us.
Cool.
So we should be good to go to paint some of this asphalt road. What we can do is just delete all the nodes we've painted already in our road network, and just start fresh here.
Just delete, pick up the whole road network and just delete it, or nodes?
You can delete the whole thing, or you can just delete all the nodes. It's equivalent. And so if we go to the connections tab in the road network again, and we just drag in our demo asphalt connection configuration that we just edited. So it's in the project view right now. It's back where we were.
In
the demo asphalt folder. Yeah, you'll see that demo asphalt connection configuration with that little S looking.
This one.
Icon. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one we just edited and set up all the references and stuff for. So we've got that selected. Now we can paint a little bit of a road if we want. The control and middle click. Cool. So now let's select one of these nodes and put an intersection in. So if we go to the intersections tab now, let's just that looks pretty good, just where it is. Just insert the intersection. So now we can just middle click that unoccupied node and select it. And just press tab just to change which node is focused, and just go back to the connections tab now, and now we can paint out from this intersection where we want to go. Yeah, just like that.
Hey.
Yeah. So now if we click rebake and have a look how that looks.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go.
Holy cow.
So we've made that mesh and just like warped it along that spline, and we connected it up to these intersections. We paint a splat underneath. You don't necessarily have to. Mad Maps also comes with like a pretty cool like a road shader, which does it with like a decal, with deferred shading and with decal buffers and stuff, which can blend nicely into your terrain with DirectX 12 Plus. Yeah, so that's those kind of roads. Man, I wish Unity could do grass like that right now, but I don't know if it's really there yet. With the vanilla Unity terrain, at least. I think Vegetation Studio could do foliage like this for sure. And then, yeah, you can just kind of set up different fall off curves for doing a behavior like this. Yeah, that's definitely achievable with the Mad Maps tool.
You know, we're gonna have to get you back another time with a scene with Veg Studio and a load of high quality textures and models.
Yeah, for sure. The Unity vegetation, the vanilla vegetation stuff, really kind of shows its age.
Yeah. At least it's better than talk.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So what else? We've made some stamps. We've made some roads. We can, if we go back to like the demo folder.
Yeah.
That root folder. There's a couple of things you can maybe play with. Let's just drag this demo farmhouse stamp out, and maybe put like a little farmhouse.
Put it into
our map.
What, just drag it into the scene like this?
Yeah, you just drag it in like that. So that's a stamp I made earlier in like a different scene, and I just saved it as a prefab. And so now I've got this little farmhouse that I can just kind of stick anywhere, whenever I want in a level. So we want to change maybe nothing. Maybe it's set up perfectly fine how it is. Let's just quickly check the preview. If we just want to click the preview enabled button, we're going to see kind of roughly what it's going to do to the height map right now. So it's pretty low down right now. You might want to just raise it up a little bit. Yeah, so it's like a little farmhouse just on top of a little rise.
So Goku's asking about tunnels.
Tunnels. In the Unity, there are like a couple of hacks you can use to make tunnels in the Unity terrain, but it's a height map based terrain. It's not really meant to do concave surfaces. I can recommend like Voxel Land is a really great tool if you're going to be doing terrains with like lots of caverns and tunnels and caves. Or alternatively, you can even do things like write a terrain shader that makes a certain part of your terrain invisible, and then detecting in your character controller when you're over that invisible hole in the terrain to like drop you through the terrain collider. But yeah, the current Unity terrain is not very well equipped for doing concave surfaces, unfortunately.
Have you played about with getting Mad Maps working with Voxel Land?
No, well, so the data structures for Voxel Land are very different to the data structures in the Unity terrain. So there's definitely some very cool tools you could write for, hey, we've got a little farmhouse now.
That's bloody quick.
So again, we can like move that around wherever we want, and like one instance of the stamp will equate to one instance of the farmhouse. You can have multiple just by copy and pasting the stamp around our scene. And then we can also go back to the scene that we made this farmhouse in, and we can change little bits of it and save it to the prefab, and then just come back to this scene, reapply our stamps, and those changes will be seen in our final level.
Say that again.
What, like the whole thing again?
No, that last bit. So I go back to the scene where you've had this.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So there's if you go to like the demo scene that we've got, you'll see the terrain where I made this farmhouse on, and you'll see that there's a template there that you can just capture from, make a new stamp to replace this existing stamp. Like you can change anything about where the objects are, where the trees are, anything about this area of the farmhouse. and then just save it to the prefab, come back here, recalculate the layer, and it'll just update, it'll just work. So it'll be difficult to get to that one, I guess, but yeah. And so you can see as well here, this is a good example of like being able to blend multiple stamps together. So you can see that these stamps are like intersecting, and that they kind of cut each other out. Like there's no, like they exclude each other. If you cover a stamp with another stamp, so this is what like a nicely painted mask looks like. Yeah, so you can edit the mask here. So what that will do is it'll cut out like a bit of this this stamp.
Man, I'm loving this. I'll write the changes back to the prefab like you said before.
Yeah, yeah. So right now, the changed mask you made only affects this single instance of the stamp, but you can have them affect all of them. And yeah, we just kind of cut out a chunk of that farmhouse.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so if you like cover a stamp with another stamp like we're doing here, it'll like it's smart enough to know to not place objects and trees and things like that have been occluded by the second stamp.
So how long did it take to make Mad Maps?
Like on and off, it's about so we started working on like internal tools for making Hurt World the moment we started, but it took us a couple of iterations of our level tools to really figure out kind of exactly what the problems were. Like it wasn't a super simple question of like, okay, what do we need this tool to do and what do we need our pipeline to look like? So it took a lot of kind of trial and error to figure out that what we needed was non-destructiveness, and like figuring out exactly what this concept of non-destructiveness meant, and what you need in a pipeline to be able to work non-destructively. So probably like 3 years, I'd say. It's been in some form of development.
I love it, man. Really enjoying this. Oh no. Just busted my road. Tab. Oh. Man, it is ridiculously easy to use. It's ridiculously easy to use. Wow. Is there a limit to the number of layers, as you need one per instance of the point of interest, and any chance of instancing multiple stamps of the same group of objects for performance reasons? You said before
Sorry,
there's no...
was that question written down anywhere?
Yeah, it's on the chat. But you said earlier there's no limit, isn't there, for the number of layers that you've got?
No, yeah, you can have as many layers, as many stamps as you want. Like there will eventually be a slowdown simply because you're asking it to do like a lot of different stuff. But for instance, like the Hurt World main map is made up of, I think, about 7 main areas. Those 7 main areas are stored within big stamps, and then those big stamps are derived from individual scenes, and every scene is like a zone, like a biome, that we create in isolation, and every one of those scenes has multiple layers, multiple stamps. So you can get very complex with it for sure.
Oh, I just destroyed my road. My bad.
It does look like you've broken a couple of things, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I broke my road. Okay.
That's all right. It just looks like you maybe deleted some connections between things. Just should be able to connect them up again. Yeah, there you go.
Multi-tile support?
Yep. Stamps work across multiple tiles. The road tool works across multiple tiles. Every terrain will have its own terrain wrapper and its own kind of stack of layers, and it will have like as few as possible. But yeah, you can definitely work with multiple terrains.
Man, it was easy to fix my screw up that I'd made of my road. That's nuts how easy that was.
Yeah, now we've got a nice little entry point to the farmhouse.
That's just crazy. People in chat, we are giving away a copy of this. Just remind people. We're giving away a copy of Mad Maps. Now, I have actually limited the exclamation mark raffle, how to win, and all that stuff. Not exclamation mark raffle, obviously, but how to win, because we were getting spammed. I will re-enable it just because I don't want to make Sengoku cry. He's too nice a person. Alright, so there you go. Minimum hours 5. You have to be in chat for minimum hours of 5 to be able to use exclamation mark how to win. Does somebody want to try an exclamation mark how to win? Let's see if it works. Now that I say do it, nobody wants to type it in. There you go. Awesome. See, that's how you win. That is how you win. Fantastic. Alright, cool. So we've got... This is nuts. This is like... I was expecting this to be a lot harder to use, to be honest. Obviously, we only like scratched the surface of what we can do. There's a lot of settings to play about with. The more I delve into it, I'm a little bit worried about how it might be a little bit daunting. So yeah, I haven't read any of the manuals, haven't read any instructions. I would advise that you do look at the manual before you start jumping in and just clicking random buttons. How many tries does the road have?
You can definitely get into some more complicated use cases, for sure, because like there's just a lot of really complicated scenarios that you want to be able to deal with. There isn't really you can see kind of how the road network puts itself together there, creates these different LOD levels. So all that's just kind of managed for you. But yeah, with this kind of stuff, there's just a lot of like we tried to make it so the things that you want to change are fairly obvious and present, but there's also a lot of depth to if you want to get like really kind of esoteric with the behavior you want.
Man, I want to play with this more. I really do. It's nuts. Of what I wasn't expecting this spline road tooly thing to be in there at all. You could use it for pretty much anything, though, couldn't you? You could cut away at the height map and make a riverbank if you wanted.
Yeah, totally. So we can even do that now if we want. Just like really quickly change the demo asphalt thing to like cut down into the terrain instead of actually we're actually fairly low on the terrain, so we can't cut down that much. We didn't really raise the terrain up much at the start, so we don't have much to go down.
Yeah, I can fix that quite
that's
easily.
fine.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on, picked out the wrong one here. There's my stamp.
not sure what you're up to right now.
I'm gonna pick up my. Where's my stamp gone? Here's my stamp. There we go.
Yeah,
I'm on the
good
road
thinking.
thing. I'm on the road thing. Too many buttons to click. Dun dun dun.
So if you want to just like recalculate everything, you can just click that button below, recalculate all layers, which will just do like literally everything. So we can see like we've taken a fairly small stamp and scaled it way up, so we can see kind of the sampling of the height map there. There's nothing you can really do about that. If you scale up a big, like a small image into a big image, you'll see that kind of same sampling. It's just kind of a inevitable consequence of resampling.
So I'm doing everything, and this is using the GPU, or this is using a CPU?
Yeah, so it is, it supports both. It's currently would be doing the CPU, the GPU for all the data kind of combination, for combining all the splat maps, for doing all that kind of image heavy lifting.
This is awesome. I'm moving my road and look at it. It's conforming to the terrain.
Yeah, you'll have to rebake for the meshes to realign, but yeah, the whole thing should just kind of snap fairly easily.
Cool. So how do we want to cut this into then?
Yeah, so if we want to like cut into the ground, we can just select the demo asphalt connection configuration, and then we're just gonna get to the set height component.
Where were you hiding?
So we just like collapse the components until we find it. Yeah.
There he was.
Yeah, so set terrain height. So if we just change that fall off curve for the height, sorry, not the fall off curve, the height curve. So currently we like move the road down a tiny little bit, minus 0.25 meters, but we can move it down a ton more. We can move it down minus 10 meters if we want.
What?
So currently the y-axis here is a very small scale, so you'll probably have to actually go and edit the point. It's like, you see at the bottom of the curve editor, it's like minus 0.25. So it's like a very, very small change in height right now that you're specifying.
How deep should we go?
How deep you want.
About that?
Sure.
Sanyo's trying to recover from that statement. And then I'm gonna go back to my road network, click rebake. Yeah.
Look, an alternative way of doing this, if you want, is if you go to your terrain wrapper right now,
This one
and
up
just
here.
you can see you've got like the road network layer.
Oh yeah.
So you've changed stuff on the road network layer. You want to recalculate that layer. So you can just press that little refresh icon to the right of your mouse right now. And what that will do is for the road network, it'll go and recalculate everything in the road network. If you do that for other layers, it'll go and collect, say, all the stamps. It'll just do like whatever work needs to be done on that layer. And something else kind of important to note is, so the farmhouse layer is above the road network layer. So when we change things in the road network layer, we need to then, like the farmhouse layer hasn't received those changes yet. So if we want to those changes to be reflected, we need to then update the farmhouse layer. So when you change a layer, you generally need to update the layers above it. So we can see like that little warning sign on the farmhouse layer, that's just saying that like layers below this layer changed, and you might need to like restamp just to get the latest information.
Man, I'm struggling at the moment to make my own custom interfaces and all this shenanigans in Unity. How you even got to this point, I ain't got a clue.
You should check out, I've got a class here in Mad Maps called Generic Editor, which is a pretty half decent like generic inspector that is available to anyone who wants to buy it. Buy Mad Maps and mess around with it.
What was that one? Generic what? Generic
Editor. So like all the
I'm gonna be
editor display, you can see, saying you're inspecting the demo asphalt object right now. All this GUI code is procedurally generated just from the structure of the classes involved. So you just pass it like this demo asphalt object, and it just generates GUI for it. So yeah, we definitely managed to mess around with that road a fair bit. It's looking interesting.
So that Messi's in love with the side features of Mad Maps. Imagine how good the main features are. Yeah, exactly. I mean, even now I can just like hide my. There you go. I've just got like used it for carving. That's right.
So because you've got the farmhouse stamp above the road network layer right now, you can see it kind of dips in and out. Sometimes the stamp, the farmhouse stamp, like wins this competition with the road network, and because you've got the height mode set to max, so sometimes the farmhouse stamp will override. Yeah, so because you changed this order, because you changed the order of you drag the farmhouse layer down, you might want to recalculate the farmhouse layer and then recalculate the road network layer.
I'm loving it, I have to say. I really am. I thought this was going to be like, like, oh, I've got Gina. Do I really need this? Because Gina does spawning stuff, but this is completely different to anything I've seen before.
Yeah, I am not aware of a tool that solves exactly the same problems that this tool tries to solve.
Well, that was it for the second part of my interview with the Mad Maps developers over at Bankroll Studios. And the third part, we're playing about with the amazing abilities to be able to take stamps from one scene to another. Oh, that's just crazy. So if you do like these videos, tell all of your friends, your neighbours, random people on the street that the Messy Coder is live on YouTube and on Twitch, or www.twitch.tv/themessycoder. And if you do like it, click it. Till next time. If you want to see more of my crazy videos, click on the left side of your screen now. And down below, there's that big juicy subscribe button. And right next to it is the magic bell that if you click it, it will tell you if I've got a new video coming out. Till next time.